as someone who deals more in community and really adjusts with the things like blogs and podcasts, I can't really speak to the difference between things like like Newsweek, like the really mainstream outlets, because we do have wonderful PR people for that. But yeah, speaking to the idea of blogs being a little bit obsessed with citation, I kind of feel like that's been something that, at least in the beginning, was blogs trying to fight for the concept of legitimacy. Like, this isn't just a rumor, this isn't us just posting something because we dreamed it and we thought it would be awesome to post, but because it's something that's real and being talked about. So it's kind of the citation, like a bibliography, is proving that your book is real and it's based on fact.
It's also etiquette, the same way a bibliography is etiquette. You're acknowledging where you got something from, and a lot of people will, pejorative sense, call blogs news aggregators, copy-paste monkeys, whatever you want to call it. But when you actually sit down to do the job, you realize that it's a lot harder than you think. That process of citation is proper blog etiquette, and it's kind of the tip of the hat. So when you don't get it, it's a lack of etiquette. So yeah, a lot of the other sites that aren't blogs, I tend to not get upset anymore when they don't tip their hats.
On Slashdot, at least, I would join you guys in saying that I always try to make sure that citations are done correctly. There's a lot of people who submit to Slashdot by just cutting and pasting into the little text box and saying, that's not going to cut it, guys. Thanks for trying, though. As far as dealing with major media, I think while it is kind of you folks to have me here, and it's kind of all you to at least pretend where I post things. Slashdot is still kind of a niche site in many ways with technology. So other than
a ton of traffic.
Yeah, he's lying. I've seen sites get slashed out. The fact that it's a verb speaks to
sorry, I'm from the Midwest. But the deal is, aside from some very favorable interactions with folks like Angus Crawl and Steven Totilo from NCD, who's another person who's kind of doing this hybrid approach to traditional media and blogging. Slashdot doesn't have a whole lot of interaction. That said, I think that this hybrid approach that has been spoken of a couple times is definitely the best way to go about it, because with folks like Angus and Steven, it's really the best of both worlds. You get someone with professionalism, resources, that sort of thing, and the immediateness of a blog. And I really hope that we see more, as you said, more media sites going in that direction in the future.
I want to turn it around a little bit and ask you guys how you deal with this river of news. We've all got, how many, I want to know how many RSS feeds you subscribe to.
Too many.
And how do you deal with that? How do you parse it out in your own? Because we've all been doing it for a while. I know I subscribe to, I think, 180. And it's almost like, I've been on vacation for the past few days. It's almost like I'm dreading going back and reading them. Just mark all as read and start new.
Yeah, workflow is a really important part of professional blogging. Joystiq's got over 300 RSS feeds that we watch as a team. And it doesn't mean that we have to watch everything. There's ways that we can index things and prioritize things. But in general, yeah, it's important to be on top of news. One of the ways that we do it is, or at least the way I do it, specifically, I'm not actively watching feeds. Somebody else might be. I'm not afraid to mark all as read.
Tips?
Tips, I can, tips are really tricky in all kinds of other ways. A lot of times you'll get, probably 50% of our tips sometimes seem like they're just BS and you have to filter through them.
But how do you deal with that? What's your BS meters?
Our BS meters are usually set to overload. So, like just doing anything on the internet, you have to be really skeptical. And it doesn't mean we don't get duped. Sure, it happens all the time, But when we mess up, we run a public update. It's up, usually our first commenter on the post will tell us, you guys are assholes.
Can I ask you a question, Grant?
Sure.
What if a company steps up to you and gives you the news? Like, I know you guys had a situation with Nintendo, right?
Well, we get, how so? We get press releases.
Yeah.
We try and find all the press releases.
No, but I'm talking about like how companies sometimes will come and might hype it up, and
Oh.
that will cause like a little hype.
where it's like the biggest announcement ever, it's going to change video gaming.
Yeah, that's
This is kind of like a chase here.
yeah. No, I'm saying.
Yeah, there are situations where hype, which is a deadly vice in the video game industry, can get the better of some people. And you know, it's just important to be vigilant about it. You know, we've obviously made our mistakes. You own up to them. And you know, like anything with blogging, it's about being honest and being upfront. So, you know, like making a mistake on a single post, you fix it, you explain the error, you take your lumps. You know, done deal.
I mean, I made that mistake. So, what advice you give, like, for me and others out there, like, so it won't happen again? So,
well, you know, it's important to be skeptical. You know, basically, situations with hype, you know, usually it's best to ignore it. You know, your job in the media, as a blogger, as a podcaster, isn't to market other people's products. So let them do their marketing. It's not your job. But it's important to be honest. You know, if you're excited about a game, you know, last week I don't think I could have written enough stories about BioShock. I could have spent all day writing posts about BioShock. And it wasn't because 2K was paying me. It wasn't because
you got the free game, or
I went to Toys R Us and picked up copies early and gave them away.
All right.
You know, it's about, you know, it's that honesty. Gamers want it to be about BioShock. We want to write about it. You know, that's a good confluence there. And, so, you know, was that hyping their game? Sure. They made a great game that people were excited to hear about. And that's a little different than, you know, just giving flat out hype for a simple announcement. But yeah, in terms of messing up, yeah, you be honest, you fix your mistakes, you move on. In terms of workflow, workflow is a really important thing for anybody that handles that amount of data, and it just means improving your technological reliance on a lot of these things. So use RSS instead of going to websites. It saves you a lot of time. You know, I use Gmail personally. I can't use any other email client. If I use another email client, I pull my hair out. Gmail handles massive amounts of email, massive amounts of comment threads that we get, and I can do it all really quickly. I can do it on my phone. I can have access to, you know, 1.5 gigs of email on my phone from anywhere. But there's a certain amount of reliance that you have to put on technology, and you have to be willing to move on if you're behind. You can't hang up on it. So like you said, mark all as read. Don't worry about it. I know a lot of people read the Today and Joystiq posts we run once a day because they're not going to refresh the site 40 times a day. And they go there at the end of the day or early in the morning, read what the day was before, and move on.
Yeah, there's a lot we've noticed, or at least I've noticed. I mean, there's definitely the class of people that are hitting refresh every 5 seconds on your site.
Yeah.
And those are the guys, and I'm sure we've all seen those on Slashdot. Those the first commenters. They have nothing better to do with their life.
It's just one guy.
It is just one guy?
Yeah, only guy.
But it's you know what I found when I first came here, you know, like I said, I've had family and I've been offline for the past couple of days. The first thing I did was talk to E, who hosts my podcast with me. He's in the back of the room. I said, what did I miss? You know, what's going on for the past few days? And he kind of gave me a bulleted list. Okay, we move on. So you almost, in addition to your RSS reader, it's also your social and professional network. I mean, I clearly can't go home and ask my wife, hey, what did I miss today gaming? She has no idea. You know, it's really coming up with the right people to ask the right things. Dan, what's going on to you? What's your workflow?
I mean, I already said my thing, so.
Pass.
I'm one of those people, I hate to get behind on knowing what the news is. I'm like, wait, what happened? That happened a half hour ago and I didn't know
Right.
what's going on. So, you know, it's really important I generally hit a couple of major sites. And then, you know, that becomes important for us as publishers as well. Not only we know everything that's going on, and then we actually implement RSS feeds on our websites as well, so that anytime there's a news post, people can find out immediately. So that, you know, we can get our updates to people who are looking forward to the games, or, you know, if we've got a tournament or something like that we really want to promote an event, say, you know, we're going to be showing this game at PAX. You know, that can go directly to people without them having to come to their website. Although we do like them to come to the website.
Yeah, I would really love some sort of like implant technology that would allow me to sort information a little bit better. I think the last time I added a RSS feed to my post, I was over 600 RSS feeds. I'm kind of retarded that way. I have a whole, I use Google Reader to speak to Gmail. I love Google Reader so much. I have like 300 of those are for mainstream game stuff, and I'm really passionate about massive multiplayer games, so that's another 150 RSS feeds. I spend a lot of time clicking. And then on top of that, I have the Slashdot Fire-Host that I have to kind of maintain rest with what's going on the website and that sort of thing. So in some ways, my whole day is workflow management. And my wife would tell you I do a poor job. The bottom line is that I need to do exactly what you're talking about, is move on all the time, constantly.
It's painful every time.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
it's
extremely
But do you guys
It's
feel
so
bad,
hard for me to do.
to your point actually, do you guys feel bad if you don't have that top story if somebody else broke it a half hour before you?
No.
I used to, but
You're,
I mean, you can't win them all. I mean,
Yeah.
you keep doing the best job you can, and you win some, you lose some.
But at the same time, it's really fun just to know something, and someone else will post it, like the person is like, yeah, I knew that. I heard about that. What, you didn't know already?
10 minutes ago, that's old news.
Oh.
This is it.
I want to move on a little bit. We're going to start taking questions in a few minutes for the last 20 minutes or so of the session. But I want to move on and talk about the vocal minority. Specifically, we've all posted stories and whatnot. It seems like there's a bunch of haters for whatever it is, whether it's Microsoft, Sony, or Nintendo. How do you look at your comments and the communication, the stream of data coming in, other than what you're outputting as a post, but the interaction that you have with the community, and how do you say, wait a minute, this isn't just 3 or 4 angry people, this is actually an issue?
I think Michael's probably just
Yeah, I was going to say
that.
that. If I can jump in with that one.
Sure. Go for it.
So the best way to describe Slashdot readers is cranky.
Now, is that games, or is that just across the different channels?
It's across all the channels,
Okay.
and it's not, and it's a good. If there are any Slashdot readers in the room, it's a good cranky. I love the Slashdot cranky, and what that cranky means is they're on the site, and only a very. It's just like with any other medium. Only a very small percentage of people actually post to Slashdot, and the people that do care really deeply about whatever it is they're posting about. So if you see a post on Slashdot, unless it's frisk post, most of those comments are going to have some merit to them. So with this last question, the comment stream is another channel that you have to take into account when you're dealing with all this stuff. The way that I deal with it personally is by not taking anything personally. And then the next part of that is going on and seeing all the elements in the comments that obviously are people who are for whatever's going on in the post and whatever people who are against this. And I try to moderate up because Slashdo's a comment moderation system. I try to moderate up whoever's making a decent point. If there's someone who's really kind of hitting the nail on the head for whichever side they're arguing, I'll moderate up the best posters on both sides and really get the comment storm going as best I can. That's kind of where I come from.
Joystiq's a little different than Slashdot, obviously. Our comment traffic isn't as heavy. I mean, Slashdot is a huge system. Slashdot also has a really sophisticated but complicated and/or cumbersome ranking system.
The cranky folks like that, apparently.
They do. It's perfect for Slashdot readers. So for Joystiq, I mean, one of the things that we have a problem with is, there's always things with hate speech or swearing or personal attacks and
Taking it too personal.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff gets banned right away. Like hate speech, it's a ban.
But you know what it is too, like a lot of readers, they trust us. They know that we are connected some way with one of these companies, so they will come and and talk to us and give us even if it's a little bit too much, But
I mean, I think I think comments are really important. There was a recent debate on the webs recently about whether or not comments were integral to blogs. And
Are they?
well, this guy's consensus was that you don't need comments to be a blog. Comments are actually antithetical to blogging because it helps crush the individual voice. It makes you want to temper what you say or be a little more diplomatic because you want to appease everybody. That was his logic basically. But I think like I said previously, if we mess up, our commenters are there usually right after the first post guy to let us know that we messed up, and that's a huge value for us. I mean, it makes sure that we're accurate. It keeps us on our toes because we don't want to post a public update saying we screwed up. but it also keeps our content up. We know that anything that's inaccurate on the site should be corrected pretty quickly. But it also gives people a place to talk about this stuff, and it gives readers free content. They can go through and read those posts, and sometimes they're really interesting and good. What we've recently done on Joystiq, in lieu of banning more people, is added peer moderation. It's a lot simpler. We use cute little Zelda hearts. But basically, if you leave a comment and your peers vote you up, the comment becomes darker, higher contrast, and if you get voted down, the text becomes lighter to the point where it gets almost completely whited out. So it offers a visual metaphor for the value of your comment. So you can kind of quickly scroll through our comments now, and if it's a worthless comment, you can barely read it. And I think that's helpful. I'm serious. I think it's helped a lot.
How long have you had that system in place?
Just about a month or so.
And you felt it's really made a difference?
I think it's already made a big difference. We have public comments. You don't need an account. You don't need a login or anything. You just leave an email and activate it.
So you probably get a lot of spam bots, huh?
No, well, that's what the email application helps us prevent. We still get some spam, but the system's pretty good that we have. But because it's public and open, people feel there's even more anonymity than other gaming blogs or other blogs that have comments. So it kind of encouraged a negative audience, and it's always been an uphill battle. I mean, the larger we get, the more it happens. So this latest offensive on our part seems to be helping, and I'm sure that at some point it'll stop working. We'll have to do something new again. But it's always an uphill battle. I mean. It's like Will Wheaton mentioned yesterday in his keynote, the greater internet fuckwad theory. People plus anonymity plus internet equals fuckwad. And it's pretty accurate. I mean, it's amazingly accurate. You meet people who can scream and yell at you all the time on the internet because you're just a name. And you meet them in real life, and it's a 4-foot-tall guy who's a puppy dog. It's kind of weird.
Say hi.
I just want to jump in really quick with a comment. Because it's something that's kind of straight to the heart of my job every day. A blog isn't a blog without comments. That's the bottom line. Slashdot.
Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah. Slashdot, for me, I'm worthless. Like, there's no reason for me to be there if it's not to full-length comments. If I'm not getting comments on a blog, my boss views it as a feather, on a blog entry.
So the number of comments that is a metric for success for you?
Oh, I'm mostly joking. It's very loose. It's very loosely, but like that is really the core of what Slashdot and I think many other blogs are all about, is getting people talking and getting interesting ideas out of the average person.
Well, it depends. I mean, on Joystiq, if we run a post about Jack Thompson, you guy's a douchebag. What's his problem? And we run a post on an indie game that looks really good, and we get like one person saying, "That game's pretty cool."
It's controversy, right? Controversy.
Yeah, I mean, people like to talk about a couple hot topics, and we have material for them usually every day. I don't equate comment traffic as a direct metric to value of a blog post or success of a blog. There's a lot of great blogs that I read. Take Steven Totillo's multiplayer blog. He might get 3 or 4 comments per post. It's a fantastic blog. It's my first read every day. But I don't see that 3 or 4 comments as being a failure for his post.
I know when a lot of people from the Xbox community, when they're pissed off, they right away go to MajorNation.com to post, no, Major.
He's got some great comments.
I mean, you get a lot of hate on your blogs. and love, but I mean, how you handle that, Major? I mean, it's your job too.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's to what you guys are saying is you don't take it personally. I'm glad that these folks have an outlet to talk. And to Chris's point, I don't let them post their hate speech and whatnot. Don't attack each other. And I always say you're more than welcome to post as long as it's kind of properly formed sentences and you're making sense.
But with that, you give feedback to your team too.
Oh, absolutely. We take that data, and everybody on the Xbox team does read my blog, and they'll send me links to different comments and say, hey, do you have that email? I want to get in touch with them, ask them what they meant. So it's really meant as a way to really get more data from the community. But yeah, I mean, people attack me and hate me, and I've had death threats. So.
And you meet them in real life, they're puppy dogs. So.
Yes, and exactly. They are that 4-foot guy who says first post. I'd like to, for the last 15 minutes or so, I want to kind of bring it up and open up the.